This boxy SUV right here is for anyone who craves adventure. Tom here with Go Auto, and next to me is the legendary 2025 Jeep Wrangler here inside the Go Garage. Now personally, I'm a huge fan of the Wrangler because through all of its generations, it's maintained its design and off-road ruggedness while still staying up to date on modern tech. And the most notable aspect of that is this front end. Because at the front here, you got a surround view camera with a washer built into it. So when you're off-roading, it stays clean. Or in our harsh winters, you can brush off the snow without having to do a little lick and rub on it. I love that. And next to it, flanking, are these LED headlights with your daytime running light accents right here, which are also your signal lights. A really cool touch to keep them separate from the main housing there. And this is your front bumper, but it's got some coolness to it. Because right here are large tow hooks for off-roading and helping other vehicles out when in the Badlands. Onto the side here, you got these nice 18-inch wheels with all-terrain tires. Something that I love with this Sahara edition is that it has the all-terrain tires, so you can go off-roading, but you still get the nice highway comfort in the vehicle. And with that, these are painted fender flares. Now, some trim levels of the Jeep get this in a plastic black cladding, making it a little more durable, but I love that this one has it in the matching red paint, giving it that more distinct and flaring look, while still obviously looking like an absolute brute. Now, before we get to the rear of the vehicle, which don't worry, we will, we're gonna talk about the panels because this vehicle can have basically all of them come off. That's including the front and rear doors. You remove these bolts and the wiring harness inside, and the bolts can all be stored in the trunk of the vehicle in dedicated slots. That also means you can remove the roof as well. This roof can come off and these two panels up top can be removed, and so can this entire rear assembly here. Although I will say the rear assembly here is definitely more of a two-person job given its size. And if you plan on doing this rather consistently, I recommend the two other roof options, the soft top panel or the power sliding soft top that Jeep offers. And now for the rear of the vehicle. One of the big safety features back here is your blind spot monitoring, and that's this cladding right here. This is actually where your blind spot houses in the vehicle because it needs to be at a certain angle. I think it's just a genius way of how they included it into the vehicle by having it in the taillight housing, which is really nice. And back here, this black chunk right here is actually your backup camera. And I love how they added this because this housing right here is actually what holds your spare tire and third brake light in place, but they're able to include the backup camera right there. So that way it's not too low or too high up on the vehicle. Genius, I love that. And with that as well, the trunk opens up like a regular passenger door. Opens up like this, and the rear window can be pulled up just like that, making it super easy to get in and out without having to lift anything heavy like the spare tire. And once back here, you'll realize you got an Alpine subwoofer, 12-volt outlet, and ample space for luggage or gear on road trips to the mountains. When you open up this space down here, like I mentioned, this is where you can actually store the bolts to taking off the roof or the doors in the vehicle. I love that. And also there, you got a little bit of extra storage space in case you have anything emergency in the vehicle, say like a first aid kit. Now, the rear seat space of the Jeep Wrangler feels a little tight, and it's not because of the footroom or knee room, because that's fantastic. Even the headroom's pretty great with the roof on, and you also get your speakers built into this roll bar up here. It's mainly about these seats here. They feel a little shallow. I'm almost putting more weight on my feet than I'd like, and the armrest is a little small. But you do also get one right here in the middle, also wrapped in leather, and you got a spot for two cup holders, your phone, and maybe even a little storage cubby right there. Down below here, you get a wall outlet, perfect for charging a computer or playing the Switch with your friends on the go. And above that, you got two USB-A and two USB-C ports here, meaning nothing is going to die when you're in this vehicle. And because these doors come off, your window controls are also right here, right below your air vents. Now, in the front cabin space, the first thing that catches my eye is how busy this console area is, but it's done in the right way, trust me. You got a large gear selector handle right here with a classic Jeep on top, giving it a nice classic look. And next to that is your transfer case shifter. Going from 2 high, 4 high, or anything for off-roading, this is something you want to have in the vehicle. In front of that, you got 4 auxiliary switches, so in case you want to put light bars or anything on the vehicle, you can do that and not have to have a gimmicky little switch in the plastic. It's built in for you. Genius. Next, that's a little storage cubby, and above that, because these doors come off, your window controls are right here. I love that Jeep still has that. You got a USB-C and A port, as well as an auxiliary plug-in of all things, and a 12-volt outlet. You got 2 cup holders right here, as well as a manual parking brake wrapped in leather. And it actually feels pretty nice for a parking brake. You do have a medium to small size glove box here in the middle, and all the doors have nice little pocket cubbies to store anything inside. One thing that I really love though is this grab handle on the passenger side for them to hold onto in any road condition, which is really cool. If they needed another place, the driver and passenger, as well as the rear seats, also get grab handles on the pillars here, so that way everyone has something to hold onto when you're off-roading. Above that is this little panel right here with extra stitching and your air vents there. These air vents are actually really cool because you can open them and close them for basically infinity, and you can turn them, making sure the direction of the airflow is always where you want it to be. It's a really cool way of having an air vent in a vehicle. But now let's talk infotainment system. I love this infotainment system because of how easy to use it is, and also its general layout and quality. Your home screen allows you to add customizable widgets to make it as personalized as possible to your liking. On the left side here, you got all your shortcut buttons like media, comfort, vehicle, and at the bottom is apps. This is where you can see everything you need in the vehicle, including your settings, USB-Cs or anything like that, and that forward camera I mentioned earlier. Because it doesn't have surround view, it has rear and front camera. But let's turn over to the driver's display and the analog dials on either side. The left side and right is where you have your tachometer and speedometer. I love that they kept this in the Wrangler because it just feels right in the vehicle. You don't need a large digital display, you just need something that works and is fun to look at. In the middle here, your digital speedometer can be available, or you can open up to different screen setups, driver displays, menus, even your tire pressures can be on display here. So that way it's nice. It just doesn't overload you with information and telling you everything. It's nice and simple, easy to look at, and easy to use. So are the controls on the whole steering wheel. Behind on the left side is your next track or back, and on the right side is your volume up and down. You also have your click to mute and media changes there as well. But on the right side here, this is where your adaptive cruise control and all your driving settings are for the vehicle. I love that they've been able to add so many buttons onto the steering wheel without overloading you because of having those triggers on the back. It's a really nice touch. And one of my favorite things about these front seats as well is also how comfortable they are. Because this vehicle is technically made for off-roading and going the distance up a mountain, they're surprisingly comfortable to be sitting in. I have pretty good bolsters on my thighs and on my hips, and they also have this really nice accent stitching that you can see on your dashboard, center console, and door panels. Overall, for how rugged and durable it's supposed to be and look, it surprisingly feels amazing in here. Now, in terms of SUVs, the 2025 Jeep Wrangler isn't everyone's cup of tea. But for those who like it, love it. And to learn more about it, make sure you visit goauto.ca or any of their Jeep dealerships.